Dear Venerables, Dhamma friends, today also we are going to start another question and answer session. As usual, we will invite Lakshmi to present the written questions to start the session, please.
Thank you, Venerable Sir. There are 6 questions today. They are all on sitting meditation. Some are extended to walking as well.
Okay.
Most Venerable Bhante, sitting meditation report. Primary object is in-breath and out-breath. Gradually breath goes from gross to subtle. In recent meditation sessions, breath is already in subtle state. Gradually breath, air is disappearing, but in-out breath is still observed. Breath nature switches from subtle to the disappearing stage in a cyclic behavior. In this phase, boredom and sleepiness observed. But thanks to you, Bhante, I am prepared to accept these behavior as a resultant of mindfulness. How can I progress further in my sitting meditation? May the Noble Triple Gem bless you.
The 2 clues or 2 points I would like to highlight. Now, early part of the report it says that the breath is my primary object and I can see the disappearance of the breath. That can happen in 2 modes. Each and every out-breath is disappearing and overall in and out-breathing also disappearing. There are 2 dimensions. Each in-breath is disappearing, each out-breath is disappearing, but that is very micro level. On top of that, the 1-to-1, the amplitude reduces and the total in-breath and out also disappearing. So, each and everything is holographic. Tiny microscopic pattern is there, overall pattern also there. So, when you go further and further, you can see this disappearance happen in momentary basis as well as short wave basis as well as long wave basis. So that's one thing, and that indicate mind is prepared. So that is a great achievement. Because yesterday in the talk that I tried to mention, as far as the disappearance of the Nissarana or the obsessional defilement is concerned, when and where someone managing to see the primary object is disappearing, that's a clear sign of onset of concentration or disappearance of defilements. So therefore, if you go prepared to see the gross in-breath and out-breath replaced by the medium and it is replaced by subtle, it is clear progress. Clearly, the obsessional defilements are getting off, warding off. And when it is happening, the boredom sets in. So that is the second great observation. That also possible, only the people go prepared. Otherwise the boredom will take you for a ride, ultimately you will fall into sleep and you miss the bus. So these 2 are 2 signs of against the grain. I am repeating, these are the 2, this what I highlight is the 2 things against the grain, because when and where meditative people expect object to be more prominent, more conspicuous, more gross, but instead what happens is object is disappearing. And so if someone is ready to understand this progress, that's an achievement. Second thing is, if you go prepared, boredom is a good sign, good omen. If you go unprepared, boredom will take for ride and you lose your whole momentum. So this has to repeat 1001 times to reiterate and reconfirm. That is what you call the science. Once you see, you search and then you go research. According to the terms of the terminology of the Buddha, Passana, Anupassana. Passana means first you see boredom sets in, you are ready. And the Anupassana means next time also, another time also, 1001 time you reseason it. You master it. Each time you feel so happy because it is ever reconfirming, ever reiterating. and you feel, I am confirming, reinforcing or galvanizing my yesterday's results, and that is why it is happening. So don't go much in search of results. So to say, result-oriented. See, now you have to reconfirm what you have observed. And while it is happening, there's a kind of a progress is happening. Well, that progress is not along the course into the grain, but it is against the grain. So your mind definitely take time to adjust into, understand this is a progress. Otherwise you will consider it as a regression or it as a something to be regret. Both these are only you can clarify in the discussion, not in talks, not in other meritorial deeds. So this is a very pragmatic, practical 2 points, highlight it and familiarize it in each and every sitting. Imagine a day, one day you will see this is exactly happening, but in a slow motion, in walking meditation also. So mind ready to observe, things are happening effortlessly. And appreciation and effortlessness will lead to, effortlessness is leading to boredom, but appreciation of effortless is much better. That means you are go prepared for the boredom, go prepared for the monotony in the even walking meditation, and then you find, earlier I used to take them as a negative signs, but now I know it is positive. So he or she will learn the ways and means how to promote it, how to facilitate it, how to give conducive conditions. So they must come from your common sense. Definitely they will come.
Sitting meditation, rising and falling. Theruvan Saranai Swami Vahanse, yesterday you described how the breath is differently experienced by a samatha versus vipassana meditator. According to this, I am inclined to samatha. You often mention that only vipassana leads out of samsara. Finally, therefore, I wish the change to vipassana to happen. For some time now, there are short periods in sittings when my attention to the object is different. While before I only perceived, now I sometimes feel some interest in the object, in its always changing, never static nature. Most interesting, I find emptiness. I also like to observe the vibrations or flux. When I observe the breath at the abdomen, my primary object, sometimes I don't like to see how independent it is from my volition. Breath is symbol for life. Emptiness and vibrations feel more abstract. I tend to stay longer awake and to drift less into unconsciousness, quote unquote, when I observe the object than when I merely perceive or experience it. It is altogether more satisfactory because I feel more interest and more alive. But there is less calm, joy and rapture now that the brain is more involved. When I observe the impermanence, it goes back and forth from fascinating to don't like it. Sometimes it feels wonderful and liberating how everything is one, connected, no boundaries, one flux. Is this how the change from samatha to vipassana happens? And is there a way to support or facilitate this change? Thank you.
So the person who has written utterly has taken care not to explain the experience of the primary object. All the other nonsense and bullshit is there. So that without explaining how do I experience the in-breath and out-breath or rising and falling, all the others are just commentaries, just interpretations. May or may not be. But I can't come into the discussion because I need the basic information. How do you feel when the in-breath and out-breath or rising and falling? Then we also can go according to your interpretation or not. So therefore these are conclusions. I need observations. So would that particular person ready to give detail about the primary object? Then we can see whether your inferential notes, commentary is correct or wrong. Otherwise I have to wait for tomorrow.
Thank you. Venerable Bhante, the primary object is the breath at the abdomen.
Yeah.
And when I start the meditation, I can usually feel it quite well. Sometimes it's already rather subtle. And it used to always disappear.
No, you are talking about the good, well, disappearing of what? Subtle what? Good what? The essence you are not, it is not coming. That is what I would like to take out. How do you feel in breath and out? It may be subtle, it will be good, it will be bad, whatever it may be. What are we talking about? The substance.
And the movement of the abdomen?
Yeah, so let me ask this way. The movement, can you see the rising and falling, two different modes of movement, so it's exactly the same movement?
No, it is different. I would say it's different. I feel the difference, but there is the rising, and there is the gap, and there is the falling, and there is the gap. The gap I don't always feel. So
what is the difference between rising movement and the falling movement? Is there any drastic difference, or it appear like almost similar?
It is. It has about the same length usually. The rising, then the falling.
So if it is so, how do you differentiate rising from the falling if it is the same?
It's not the same.
No, you are hiding. I am not telling you are doing consciously. I am telling whatever you write, whatever you talk, you are not talking about rising and falling. You are talking about the adjectives. You are talking about your impressions. But I am asking, how do you know when the rising happens, this is rising, not falling? How do you verify?
The rising is a kind of contraction or tension.
Yeah.
And the falling is a falling together or loosening.
So how do you know, how can you say it is samatha?
That's my question.
You are misleading. You are misleading. Instead of giving the raw material, you are telling, I know I am in samatha, Bhante, how can go into vipassana? That's I feel the question. But if you are telling the rising, I feel like a contraction, falling as a contraction and this kind of thing, then that is utter vipassana. So how can you mislead the whole community? You being the first person experiencing, and you take the upper hand and says, I am samatha yogi, how can I go to vipassana? Instant. How direct, how simple, how innocent to tell this is in rising, this is falling. Then we are ready to discuss.
Yesterday you said that that's what I understood yesterday, that for a samatha yogini, the breath disappears.
No, that is vipassana yogi, that's the clarity I mentioned. Samatha yogi feel light and lightness and kind of thing while the breath is happening, not see the characteristic of the breath. They don't see the manners. Characteristic as manners, and it is disappearing in the chronological order, fairly safely you can say vipassana. Maybe not exclusively, and that is the way we can guess someone's experience. So that's exactly the point I just wanted to make. Samatha nimittuppatthane ekattang, vailakkhanuppatthane ekattang. That is in the Pali. Samatha nimitta means when you are observing the breath, light appears. Lightness appears. They are nimitta. It's a kind of a projection from your meditation. Vipassana, the very object. You can see this is rising, this is falling, this is the difference, and this is the manner it is reducing or increasing. That means right from the beginning it is vipassana. It may be too subtle, it may be too technical, it may be too scientific, but it is our resource in our Theravada tradition. All these things are coded, all these things are in our record. So in Dhamma talk we just talk. But anyone knows, any detail given, yogi rather misunderstand than understand.
Maybe I'm confused also because, and that's why probably it was difficult for me to describe, because when I sit, I don't use words, or I don't...
No, just without talk, without the confusion, just explain when you are walking, left leg, how do you experience? And can we see the difference between right leg? Or yes or no? When you are breathing, if you manage to go into the rising and falling of breathing, there's two lobes, rising mode and the falling. Can you see any discrimination? If it is available, that's a clear indication your mind is on the rather on vipassana. If you can't see, you know you are breathing, you don't know where it is touching, no the rising and falling, the in-breath and out-breath or rising and falling discrimination in the shapes and the manner. That means your continuity, mindfulness is there, but you feel happy, light and continue. That's safely we can say samatha way. It is not exclusive, but I am telling this is the way samatha nimittuppatthane ekattang, vailakkhanuppatthane ekattang. The regression, the disappearance of the shapes and the color manners is vipassana. That means you see shapes, you see manners, but in samatha, no. You know you are in breath, but not in discrete way. But continuity is there, sati is there. And there you feel collected, calm and collected, object face to face it, but no much of detail, no much of characteristics, no much of manners. It can happen. So this is the guesswork, because we are talking only through words. We are living in two different worlds. So these words sometimes bridge it, sometimes confusing. It can happen. So therefore, the way that you explain is right from the beginning. It is vipassana way. Just continue. See more and more detail, or time-wise or chronologically, how it change. Becoming more and more conspicuous, or becoming more and more subtle, more and more disappearing, more and more waning off, more and more dwindling it off. If it is so, it's a good sign. That is dwindling it off. Object, yes, but it is the dwindling it off of defilements. Disappearance of defilements. So promote it, facilitate it, so ultimately it will go to the unperceivable level. Not permanently, but this indicates it is possible within few minutes time, maybe within 1 hour, you can go to a place where fairly free of defilements, fairly free of objects, but mindful. You are still sitting, and still you know the history from the gross, complicated level, how it came to the calmness, nothingness, enormous space, no limits kind of situation. It's a progress as well as we are on vipassana side.
So there is no need to put words on the experience, as long as I perceive it.
Yeah. The first question, if it is so, not necessary
to put words. Because I think I perceive the things, but I don't think about that, or about them, or I don't label it,
The thinking of words will be necessary if you have a question. Otherwise not necessary. If you are contented, You are full of faith, not necessarily you are proceeding because no block. You are in the least frictional path. No block. So proceed. If you have a question, then you have to put into words. Then you have to use your intellect to pass the message to another brain, another person. Not otherwise necessary.
Thank you, Bhante.
Walking and sitting meditation. Venerable Bhante, now have come to your point in walking mindfulness that has become boring. Earlier, it was so inviting to do walking. Still, I am continuing walking. Sometimes I observe myself from apart to see that I am looking like a cripple. One side, the right side, get more gravitated towards the ground. Sometimes I just glide through as if getting washed through water. Sometimes it is just left, right, left, right. Few times feel I am getting sucked into something when walking. Sitting is still struggling. Maximum time could wait while chanting to myself, I am sitting, is mere 20 minutes. My problem is that the whole prescribed schedule is almost completed daily, struggling like mentality to be mindful. But at night I am very much mindful that I cannot sleep. Every footsteps, every sound, every sensation gets magnified. I tried to put myself to sleep, but failed miserably. Should I start walking, or what should I do? Thank you for your steel of patience with newcomers to mindful practice.
So that whatever may be, with your likings or disliking, with your effort or effortless, if the mindfulness is increasing, you all must be happy. Maybe night, maybe in the daytime. So when Sariputta says, Ratti diva sanya, diva ratti sanya. When you are socializing and be right with the people, in the daytime, behave like you are in night. When there is no one, mindfulness is awake and everything is very amplified, take the night as the day. Just like an owl, O-W-L, I don't know how to pronounce. Owl. Wise man, wise animal in the forest. Sleep in the daytime and awake in the night. Yogi must understand, because the daytime people are very busy and talking and all the kind of interaction. You behave like a slumber, night walking, in the daytime. And the night time, full-fledged. So, Ratti diva sanya, diva ratti sanya. You get the notion of day in night time. You get the day in the night time, night in daytime. So, you behave like with the people, but daytime is just like sleeping. So, adjust it accordingly. That we being monks are very, very advantageous. We can adjust our timetable as we like. But in a retreat center, we don't allow. We say you must come and sit, you must walk, and you will eat, you must, all the kind of, so this is kind of a regimentation, sorry, but there is no other way that we can accommodate 100 people at a time. So therefore, you have to get the substance, you have to get the love spots to develop mindfulness. Wherever it is possible, wherever it is soft, facilitate. That's the way roots are growing under the soil. The canopy you can see, you can prune and everything. But you can see how the roots are growing, it is growing to the wetness, go to the sap of fertility. So therefore roots never go straight. It's go according to the climate, according to the soil layers, it's grow. And it, not only that, it gives the anchorage also. So therefore now you know, in walking, earlier very cheery, now boring. And sitting, 20 minutes I can be aware that I am sitting. And night time, full vibration, the amplified, how many steps you can take, how many time you can keep the attention in the body, see at least as 3 combination and see what is the most profiteering, prolific, and facilitate that. And that must be your ways and means. Because you are in a completely different character, different likings and disliking. When you introduce mindfulness, it grows according to your background, your likings and disliking. First you study and then facilitate whatever may be more profiteering.
Most Venerable Bhante, sitting meditation. Sitting, walking and day-to-day life. Triple Gem Bless. Sitting meditation. My primary objective is paying attention to the in-breath and out-breath at the nostrils. Yesterday and today, in my view, I am improving gradually in this matter. I could pay enough attention to my primary object. I could notice that breathing consciously once could see breathing is a little bit fast as well as long. Gradually it became less speed and very clear, as well as shorter. Then gradually it became very mild and gentle at the same time. I could observe its beginning, middle and the endings very clearly. Early morning I could see I've got pleasure, then like a pleasure pain, and the state of calm down in my mind. Then again more pleasure than earlier in my mind. As these happened, I could see the sign of light become gradually bright and clear. Walking meditation. During the walking meditation, I could concentrate very much. I noticed the movement, how they emerge and vanish from the hip joint, knee, ankle, as well as toes. I noticed the feelings, pains when touching the floor, coolness, toughness, etc. Also the pain aroused on my back, legs and relevant areas of the body. Sometimes it went up to the head even. I felt all the actions emerging, continuing and vanishing. Once it began, my eyes closed automatically. When it happens, I went to the bench there and meditate. Here I could have a deep concentration. I spent more than 30 minutes with that situation. I could analyze the thoughts and refused those and stopped them when they arose. Day-to-day activities. Especially when eating, I noticed mixing up, bringing to the mouth, biting, rolling, touching and the feelings of the food and the tasting, thoughts, etc. Sometimes I got the idea to do particular manasikarya. Venerable Bhante, please be kind enough to give more instruction for the development and to avoid wrong things and ideas. I wish you may have a long life with good health and peace, and also I wish you success in your services and your spiritual life for the Nibbana.
If the question is regarding the wanting and ideas, definitely it will cease to exist after your death. That is for sure. As far as living, we are living in a world of ideas, world of wanting. Be happy with it. Otherwise, get some insecticide or something like that. Jump from a cliff or go to a railway station nearby and keep your head there easily. No more ideas, no more wantings. So life is that. Try to understand it rather than avoiding the life. It's irritation. It's a friction. It's aberration. But we can put up with. That's what the Buddha is telling. And do it. Let it happen under the light of mindfulness. Hilarious. Rather than happening in the darkness. Let it happen again and again. Then you see your amplification increases and your foresight increases. See-through increases. Don't reject anything. That is a crime. It's a commitment. You have to pay for that. Accept everything under the light of mindfulness and vigilance and diligence, and there should have a wanting, there should have a kind of ideas. Otherwise, no go in the picture. There should have a fight and the girl and the boy and the enemy and the gardens and kind of thing. Otherwise, who is going to look at the films? So in this film also, these part and parcel necessary. Your particular manasikara and everything it's unwanted things. Particular manasika is conditioning of your brain. Just see when you are eating. Don't try to consider them as filth. Very difficult. I know what I am telling is very difficult to grasp. But everything valid, everything become skillful when it is happening under the light of mindfulness. That's all I have to say. Even the defilements become a compost or raw material under the light of mindfulness. You never believe. Because you think that for mindfulness to develop, defilement must be get rid of. No. Defilement is the hotbed, the nutriment for the mindfulness to happen. So I would rather say, the mindfulness of bad thing is much, much, much dynamic than mindfulness on the good things. It's so radical. That is why a person like me is very successful in this game. Because each and every one bad part is big. So if you try to get rid of that part and try to be mindful of only the good, it will be only for the arahants. So we must be sympathetic and try to be mindful, but under the light of mindfulness, you want to let the wanting to be wanting, let the ideas be ideas, and take it as an object. Just like breath, just like walking, just like eating. They come, they go, they give the message and go. So don't ask anything to avoid, that means a crime. It's a commitment. It's a punishable damage, mistake. Accept everything. Everything become aesthetic. Everything become very lovable. So things are happening by its own accord. You become a neutral observer, and mindfulness will be more and more unmistakable friend in your whole journey. If you are not discriminating, this is good, this is bad, this is been put into English along the terminology choiceless awareness or evenly suspended attention. For the ideas, wanting, not wanted, no ideas, evenly suspended attention, then no tension. Moment you have this to have, this not to have, that is the point where the tension starts. So therefore have at least 5 minutes a day, choiceless awareness, evenly suspended attention, or suspended decision. Not necessarily, we are not the judge. I'll let the judge decide. We just citizen Jones. Let the thing happen. So other parts are okay, this letter. There are all 3 aspects explained, sitting, walking and the day-to-day. But the only thing is, when it is happening, there is a kind of a opinion coming, how can I get rid of desire or wanting, how can I get rid of these ideas? No, even with that much of desire or wanting an idea, still you came up to this position, no problem. In time, for future also, it is the same. It may be there, but it's not blocking. That I am telling, it is not inflicting you. Let it be insignificant, but don't dismiss it. Don't sack the fellow. Keep it like the star. Run the show.
Thank you, sir. Next question, also sitting meditation. Most Venerable Bhante, my primary object is here now I am. After some time of sitting, I had reached a lightness and coolness of body and felt very tranquil. Then I felt as if some unusual tightening was happening to my face. I felt my jaw and the teeth attached to it very prominently, as tight and hard. The rest of my face too felt strange, an inner hardness. I then realized I was feeling my skull. It was a strange experience. Having heard and read that it could be Pathavi or earth element was helpful then. Thank you most humbly for your guidance and blessings of the Triple Gem.
Yeah, that kind of interpretation is under such circumstances helpful, because whenever you to understand the hardness under your very nose, there must be a kind of inside body hardness. So when it happens, it appears like two jaws are fighting each other, or skull and kind of thing. But it is just example. The theme is hardness. And to understand the hardness, the softness must be in the background, no otherwise. So when you are observing, you see hardness. And after long time only, you see there is nothing called absolute hardness. Hardness is working with the softness. So Pavak Sayadaw says, he is directing. I am not professing it, but I am telling an example. He says, if you wish to understand hardness, they take the tip of your tongue and touch the wisdom teeth. And that is the way you can see the hardness. And put the tip of the tongue between the two lips with saliva, then you can see the softness. So this is the way we can do it and see. That is just to introduce. But all the time you feel it. And when you are feel hardness, it is called the nature of hardness. And it's sabhava, or bhava, or gati. It's in the Pali. Tada bhava, tada sabhava, tada gati. Hardness, it's a nature, it's continue to the hardness and the pathway of hardness. So you do not know whether it is in the teeth or skull or kind of thing, but when we are introducing unto the understanding, we understand with part and parcel of your body. But later you may understand these four elements are manifesting each and every thought moment. Whether you experience the breath or whether you experience walking meditation or rising and falling, they are happening. So understand under the language of four elements, then you can feel God and Brahma. But they are also understanding in that sense. It's a universal language. Elements are outside, inside. Element within do not know they are living in a living body. Yeah. Elements outside, they do not know they are living in non-living or living body. So elements are the same. So when the Buddha is instructing Venerable Rahula, the young son, the Buddha says, Ajjhatta patavidhatu, bahidha patavidhatu, patavidhatu revesa. Rahula, see the internal hardness, external hardness, they are mere hardness. You are the one claim this is internal, but hardness do not know whether it is in you or there. Hardness is hardness. So in the Catholic funeral, they say, ash to ash, soil to soil. Once you dead, your body go back to the ash and soil. It's connecting with the outside ash and the soil. So this is the language of the four elements. So the yogi must understand the language of four elements. They never come and talk in English or French or Sri Lankan or Pali. This is hardness, softness, fluidity, cohesiveness, heat, cold, stiffness, tension, movements. What else you find in the life. Life means that. So whenever it is happening, we are getting toothache and hair problem and all blood nonsense. From the elements are concerned, they are language of the Aryans or language of the celestial beings, higher beings. They are talking in terms of elements, so they are not worrying about. They have no ENT surgeons, there is no skull surgeon and tooth surgeons. Nonsense. Everyone is a single disease, what you call the life. Life is utter disease. The Buddha mentioned 4 sansaric diseases: old age, sickness and the death. Birth, old age, sickness and the death. Which is a peak status of elements for the human being. But the elements do not know whether you are manifesting in the birth or old age or death or sickness. They are happening. So the day you understand it, your aging will be stopped. Rejuvenation will be started. Because the elements never go old age. So this is a very good way. But later this is also going. Ultimately you will understand without teeth, without skill, the hardness, the hard nature, the continuity of the hardness. So then you can go beyond your bodily part also. But this is the way you are comprehending it as a beginner.
Thank you, sir. The last question on sitting meditation. When experiencing the in-breath, I felt it as in-breath. I noticed that in and out breath enter and leave from the left nostril. I focused my attention keenly on the breath. I was able to retain my attention about 50 minutes. Here and there, some thoughts have come and gone, invade the mind. My body became lighter. Then again my attention went to the primary object. Just the sensation of quick respiration. Cannot separate in and out breath. Just a blowing. Kind of spreading yellow color light in front of me. Sometimes silver color light shaded in the middle of my forehead like a flash. Yellow color remained. Respiration couldn't be felt. How can I improve meditation practice? Reverend Sir, may the Triple Gem bless you.
So when this happens, if you can continue to maintain this trend, that is the facility you must give. That's the progress. If you stop again, you have to go back to the zero. Just like the snake and the ladder game. If you go back to the tail, again you have to start from there. So once you come up to the proper equilibrium, proper balance, spend at least 1 split second more. Facilitate it just to let it grow in the same way. Otherwise you have to completely come back to the zero and next day start with almost at the beginning. So therefore when and where the combination or constellation or the proper balance happen, you have to understand you must be opportunists. Don't lose the opportunity, just push through, use your faith, use your energy, use your mindfulness, use your concentration, use your wisdom, just to maintain it. And at that time you feel unrest, you feel like change the posture, get up and go. So that is the way the block happens. So therefore you must understand, endure it, have faith, just have 1 split second more, or 1 breath more, or 1 left leg or right leg more. Likewise, continuity is what you have to facilitate. You must know ways and means how to maximize, how to extend it further. So, in that knowledge-wise, we all are the same. Don't ask from Buddha. Buddha is nothing special in that sense. If we wish to know, do it, we have the ways and means. Attikeyu uppanyato maggo. If you know what you need, methods are there. Ways are there. Only the thing is, we are not aware what to do and where to facilitate. Then your abilities and everything is working against you. When the combination happens, just push through. It is like if you are a business person, and if you know the business is mostly in the Christmas time, so you have to do overnight and work and get, because you don't get the 2 Christmas a year, only 1 Christmas. At that time you have to earn. Don't ask another Christmas to come, rather than get the opportunity. That is called opportunity. It's in Sasana, it is called Kshana Sampatti. The opportunity cost. In economics, we have been taught what is the opportunity cost. If you miss it, gone. You have to make the opportunity. So you must be opportunist. Whenever the combination happens, just facilitate to continue it.
I have a question on that. Like, when that happens, is it bad to change the position?
Anything changing means you go back to the tail end. Anything changing is what you do, that is your foolishness. That is your idiotness. That is your conceit. That is your desire. See that, just let it happen, maybe 1 split second. You compromise for one more breath, 1 more step, 1 more split second. So there you have to sacrifice everything. Your comfort, your liking and disliking, and your rational mind, opinions, and your moods, emotions, everything you just suppress. And just, this is happening.
Right. Okay. Right. Thank you.
10 minutes, 5 minutes more.
May I continue on that question?
I don't know. If you have questions, you can have either continuation of the same or your question.
So say, for example, when I'm meditating, I often experience pain, but it doesn't bother me.
Experience?
Pain.
Pain.
But what happens is I now let the body do what it wants to do. So it will automatically adjust, roll this way, that way, forward, backwards, bend into. And those changes don't seem to affect the mindfulness. I am aware of the changes taking place.
I will ask a personal question. What is the biggest pain? What is the biggest, that kind of the difficult situation you experience as far as the pain is concerned?
The pain is under control now because the body shifts.
I'm asking, you are a very old lady.
Okay.
In your old age life, what was the peak of pain you experienced in your life? Not now.
No, not now.
Not now, I am asking your past. Can you remember what is the highest pain?
There was a time when I used to meditate on the pain.
Yeah.
And just wait in extremely painful situations until I saw through the pain.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily have to make pain the primary object. No, if something else is my primary object.
As far as the primary object is there, pain, if it is not overpowering primary object, don't make it primary object.
No, the body just
making
adjusts.
Primary object is you are asking for trouble. So as far as the primary object is there, pain may come, sounds may come, anything come, so let it be in the peripheral or background. Noting means you take it to the foreground. And then you are definitely losing the primary object. So that is what I am telling. As far as primary object is there, just appearance of the secondary object, no problem. It is not inflicting. Just let it be there. You just be with the primary object. It may be pain or thought or sound. But you are not answering my question. I am asking what is your worst thought moment in your life? The painful event in your life you experience.
It may have been that day seated here, I was in terrific pain, and so I just watched the pain.
What I understand is usually we experience much more excruciating kind of pain in our livelihood, in our other day-to-day activities than in meditation.
I generally can handle pain.
Good.
I don't bother much. I mean fairly constant pain. I don't let it trouble me.
Pain become pain.
Yes, I just adjust posture.
So that is the way, that is how you are becoming, we become close to Buddha. By crying, by complaining, you never go to the Buddha. He don't like that kind crying babies. He says, these are simple, within your skin, you can sort it out. Come to him for serious problems. Just a thought, just a sound, just a pain. What is this? So in time to come, whenever you have that kind of outlook, it is like not a magnifying glass, the other way, the opposite of the magnifying, everything becomes small. How do you call them? Not the magnifying glass, other one is the concave and convex.
Reduction.
What is the term? No, the magnifying is expanding, the concave, so everything is become reduced. When you are meditating, all the big problems become insignificant. Which you can see under any pain situation, mindfulness can thrive. Any difficulty happen, the mindfulness can thrive, pervading. So then everything becomes less and less. And you see, you can go through just like a three-wheel driver. Anywhere you can go there. From Mr. Truck and kind of thing, he put everything there, he go on. You won't know, sir. No traffic rules, nothing. It goes. And behind there it says, I know you are looking very badly upon our young vehicles. Don't look at it in the bad way. I have gone, tata. Already gone. Always there is one caption behind the three wheels. Very, very sarcastic. So therefore learn this art. Don't exaggerate. Don't tell others that by telling others you make yourself inferior, less than human. And compare with other people, so much of deprived people around. And what we are talking about this pain and sound and all the kind of thing. Not that I am giving a license for you to make pain to others. Make noise while the others are meditating. Don't give thoughts for others, don't do it. But whenever it is coming to you, understand how much I can maintain mindfulness. And amazing, mindfulness never gets disturbed if you go prepared.
Any questions? Verbal questions?
Can you please clarify? I have some problem with the samatha people. I want to say, throw from the window your heaven, your God. Throw your happiness and follow raising and falling. All is impermanent, but I need of use diplomacy and say, oh, good. How can I improve my diplomacies and my patience? What Buddha's teaching about this?
That means samatha and vipassana, difference. No. I missed one, what are the key words?
The key words, it's samatha people.
Samatha people.
And
vipassana people.
I want to say at samatha people, throw away your, I would say, heaven and gods from the window. And your happiness and follow raising and falling. No, it's because they are attachment. All it's impermanent. but I cannot, because I need the relationship with these people, no? And
you can't say that some other people is doing this and that, because whenever you face the object, primary object, the way objects see depend on your temperaments. If you are a vipassana kind of person, you will see the shapes, manners, and its intrinsic characteristics. Some of the people don't go in specializing the object, but they feel lightness, they feel light, they feel calmness, happiness, and kind of the extracts. So penetrating into the object and tasting it and understanding its characteristic is the vipassana way. While associating the object, you feel light, you feel lightness, calmness. These abstract things indicate your track is on samatha way. So they are not doing it. It is something happening. So it's a question whether you are born with samatha characteristics or vipassana characteristic. If you are born with samatha inclination or vipassana inclination. But it is not hard and fast also. Within same person, these things can happen. So what the interview report asking is, whatever may be the way you observe the object, that must be the content of your interview reports. Then the listener can understand. Don't interpret. Immediately once you interpret, your simplicity goes. So therefore, not that some of the people is doing something, throwing away about the window, but this is the way they see. Exactly the same thing. Two people look at, see and report two things according to their perspectives. That is what I gathered.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Ante?
Okay, yeah.
Just a quick question, expanding on that then, once you've determined whether the practitioner is a samatha or vipassana practitioner, how do you further guide them along?
So whatever may be, if your inclination is samatha, you may be not specializing the object, but you can be with the object longer time, and then you feel very calm, or light, or lightness, then continue just like that. And then after once comes samatha concentration, come up to a certain maturity, it's going to reflect upon that. Not before the Buddha, it was not there, because that knowledge was not there. Now we are after the Buddha, so after mind is free from nivaranas, so obsessional defilement, then that lack of defilement itself means opening new windows, opening doors, so mind can see things without much with obsessions, without much with restrictions. So there your same mental state, your object, you may be looked from the different perspective. Sometimes again you start to see the natural characteristic of the object, manners of the object. So after that it is naturally going. Buddha says, Samahito bhikkhave yatha bhutan janati passati. Whenever the mind becomes calm and collected, it sees things as they are. So it is cascading. After fulfilling, it is cascading into vipassana. Vipassana people also have kind of a concentration. It is called momentary concentration. And start right from the beginning, the natural characteristics of the object. And even then, when the object completely disappeared, they also feel kind of a serenity. They also feel kind of a equanimity. They also feel kind of a one-pointedness. That's also very profound. Very difficult in the sense to discriminate. Theoretically, yes, practically, the samatha characteristic and vipassana characteristics. So therefore, when you are continuing, hardly, whenever you decide, may be a wrong decision. Because they are reciprocal each other. Once the mind becomes calm and quiet, naturally just look into the natural characteristics, that reality. Whenever you get ready to reality, mind is calming and collecting. So, specifically, when you are communicating two people, very difficult to communicate. But when you know and if you are practicing, you see when the calmness happens, then it goes to the vipassana. When the vipassana happens, again it is feeding back to the calmness. They are chain action like. I am telling about the healthy development. So there are 4 methods the Buddha says. You can start with samatha and go to vipassana. You can start with vipassana and go to samatha. Or you can go both hand in hand.
Thank you.
Okay, we are going to take time for our walking meditation. We have around 55 minutes. And at about 3 o'clock we are going to meet again here for a group sitting. With that announcement, we are going to sum up the question and answer session. Thank you very much for the participation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.